To be honest, I was not expecting this. Hey guys, just a short video today. I'd like to bring something to your attention that I think is really important for us to know. But before I do that, let me just give a quick summary of my journey so far on carnivore so you have some context, especially for people who are tuning in for the first time. I've been carnivore now for 3 years. It all started in 2022. I was doing keto to try and reverse my pre-diabetes and get control of a drinking problem that I had. And doing keto, I was incorporating a small amount of non-starchy veggies into every meal. And that was quite different for me because prior to going keto, I had not been on a very healthy diet, certainly not a diet that included vegetables of any description. And so now that I was incorporating these non-starchy veggies into every meal, I discovered something. I realized that plants were indeed trying to kill me. And these assassination attempts by the plants would happen on the regular immediately after eating and involved a lot of bathroom time and draining all the liquid from my body very, very quickly. And so, after repeated murder attempts and a little bit of research, keto morphed into carnivore. And since I've been carnivore, I've seen massive changes: weight loss, clearer skin, clearer thinking, better sleep, more energy, focus that I've never experienced before. And these have all been wonderful. But the most life-changing thing for me was a few months into carnivore. The arthritis I had in my left knee just vanished, gone. Now, I live in Japan, and in Japan, you have to walk everywhere. And there's also a lot of stairs everywhere. So you're always up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. And so I would have to walk from home to the station, station to work and back again every day. And so with this arthritis, I'd get to work and I'd be exhausted. And then I'd do a day of work and I'd be exhausted from that. And then I'd walk home and I'd be exhausted from that walk home as well. And I'd just collapse in front of the TV like a zombie. And no matter what I did, this feeling of lethargy, of this twinging pain was always with me. So, of course, if I was walking, it just felt like bone on bone pain all the time. But this crunching, this exhausted walking. But even when I was sitting down, even if I was sitting down with my leg extended, I wasn't moving at all, it was always there, this feeling of, it's not quite right, you're kind of broken. And so it was always with me. It was this dark cloud. And then 2 months into carnivore, gone. And I've gone from this exhausted, lethargic, lumbering, kind of painful walking to running everywhere. Just the most life-changing thing. And recently I noticed something that I'd really like to bring your attention to. And the reason I've noticed it is because of the mental clarity that carnivore has given me and the ability to kind of look at things and assess what's really going on around me. And what I noticed was this article here. Now, we're going to go through this article and talk about it, but the scariest thing that I have seen is not the article itself, but the people who are sharing and endorsing this article. And we'll get to that in a moment. So weight loss drugs should be the first step to prevent heart disease, top cardiology group says. Now, the thing that stands out to me in this article is not that they're talking about weight loss drugs. It's not that a cardiology group is saying, yeah, they're probably useful. It's not that it could prevent heart disease, because anything that can help you lose weight and get a bit healthier is probably going to help with heart disease. But the thing that shocks me about this is it says the first step, not the last resort, the first step. So everything else out the window, we are going to use drugs as the first step, as the primary approach to fixing a problem. Anyway, let's read through it. Okay, so from Bloomberg. Millions more Americans should be taking weight loss drugs to prevent heart disease, according to the American College of Cardiology. Exercise and a clean diet aren't always enough for heart health. The nation's top cardiology organization said in new recommendations released on Friday. Weight loss drugs should be used earlier, making them part of the first line defense for obese patients, the group said. Why? That's my question. Why should it be first line defense? Why are you not saying, okay, let's treat this at the cause? Let's try and actually get to the root of this problem. Let's not just try and paper over the cracks. Let's try and actually work out what's going on, which is probably those 10 gallons of Slurpees that you're consuming every day. Let's not work that out. Let's just go straight for the drugs. Because, of course, if you go straight for the drugs, then people don't have to modify particular bad habits. Like they may not want as many Slurpees anymore, but they still can have the Slurpee, right? Novo Nordisk's Wegovy and Eli Lilly and Co.'s Zepbound, such terrible names, should be considered when choosing primary treatments to avert heart disease, the leading cause of death in the US, according to the new guidelines. Could it, in fact, be the diet itself, not the deficiency in drugs that balance out the bad diet and cause other side effects? The popular drugs are more effective than lifestyle changes and have fewer risks than surgery, the non-profit medical association said. So this is a medical association, supposedly a non-profit one, that say that the drugs are more effective than lifestyle changes. Okay, so what they're saying is that they can't get people to change their lifestyle enough that they'll see improvements relative to just injecting themselves regularly. That's scary. We have heard about the myriad of positive influences the drugs possess, and to get this sort of props from the ACC is a big win. Mizuho Securities' Jared Holtz wrote in a note to clients. So Mizuho Securities is an investment bank, and so they're weighing in on this. Why? Why are they experts in health? It's got nothing to do with that. They're saying it's a big win because, hey, guys, we're going to make so much money out of this. Novo's US listed shares briefly spiked on Friday after the new guidelines were released, then dropped 1.1% as of 11:22 a.m. in New York. Lilly paired an earlier decline to fall 2.8%. The ACC's recommendation is a departure from its previous recommendation that advocated for lifestyle modifications before obesity medications. Why? Patients shouldn't have to try and fail before they are able to get the powerful medicines that have revolutionized weight loss and proven their ability to improve heart health, said Olivia Gilbert, a cardiologist at Atrium Health Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center, who led the work on the new guidelines. Okay, here's the problem. Everyone wants a friggin' switch. That's the problem. Everyone wants to go, oh, I don't want to wait. Oh, that's hard work. I just want to switch. Patients shouldn't have to try and fail. That's life. That's life. That's how everyone gets through life. They try and they fail and they try and they fail and they try and keep going until they succeed. If you raise a child who never fails and you hand them the solution every time, that child is not going to be a normal adult. And most people generally understand this, but still we're going, yeah, but failure's not nice and it makes me feel icky. So let's just take the switch. She was forthright in saying the change was intended to influence insurance companies and federal programs to decide which prescription drugs to cover. See, it's all about money and influence and just getting the thing you want approved. The support of cardiologists could lead more patients to embrace the medicines and signal broader insurance coverage for the drugs from Novo and Lilly, the two main companies vying for control of a market that Morgan Stanley analysts, investments again, say is hurtling towards $150 billion in peak sales within a decade. See, it's just about money. It's not about people's health. It's about money. The new guidelines may have sweeping public health and policy implications that could reduce damage from heart disease. And that's incredibly exciting, Gilbert said. You know what else might help prevent heart disease? Eating a proper diet that isn't full of ultra processed foods, not smoking, not drinking, not doing all that stuff. That might help you. Even so, people should absolutely not cancel their gym memberships, according to Gilbert. The drugs will help with weight loss, and if anything, that should increase physical activity, she said. They're meant to work in tandem. You notice she doesn't say anything like, people should absolutely not stop eating healthy, one ingredient, nutritious foods, because that would negate the need for these drugs in the first place. But as we know, keep the gym membership because you can't exercise away a bad diet. More than 40% of adults in the US are obese, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Uncertainty about insurance coverage is a significant barrier to treatment, the ACC said, noting there is ongoing need to improve access to these therapies. Or, if you're worried about your insurance coverage, just buy one ingredient whole foods. Job's done. Doctors can determine who is eligible for treatment to ward off heart complications based on body mass index, a calculation involving weight and height or other risk factors, according to the new guidelines. So what's going to happen here? Doctors can determine who is eligible for treatment to ward off heart complications based on body mass index. So what's going to happen here? Miss Smith, we would really like to offer you injectable drug to help you with weight loss, but your BMI is not quite high enough yet. If you could, get on those Slurpees and Pop-Tarts a little bit more for the next couple of weeks, come back, we'll put you on the scales again, job's done. You'll get your prescription. No worries. The link between obesity and heart health isn't new, but patients need to lose 10% of their body weight to reduce their cardiovascular risk and 15% to slash related deaths, Gilbert said. Drug therapy may be the best and most accessible way to get there, she said. It's not. There's a supermarket on the corner. Many insurers don't cover the medicines, which cost around $1,000 for a month's supply without insurance. How many steaks could that buy? But are also available at lower prices for consumers who buy them directly with cash. What is it? This is literally a drug deal. The new ACC guidance could influence negotiations with private insurance companies and Medicare and Medicaid, the US government insurance programs for the elderly and the poor, according to Gilbert. While most Medicare and Medicaid plans pay for weight loss drugs for diabetics, they aren't currently covered for obesity. Anyway, I'm not going to read more of this article. We know where it's going. I'm going to link to that in the description. What I want to do is I'm going to show you who's been sharing it, i.e. endorsing it, right? So I noticed on Twitter, one Dr. Thomas Dayspring, and he repeats the headline of the article in his post. Weight loss drugs should be first step to prevent heart disease, top cardiology group says. And Thomas Dayspring is this world-renowned clinical lipidologist, right? And he's sharing articles. He's banging on all the time about heart disease and lipids and how you've got to be careful. You're going to have a heart attack. You're going to have this. You're going to have that. And he's sharing this, saying the first step to prevent heart disease is drugs. Right? And you could say, all right, well, he's just sharing it. Maybe he's sharing it out of interest. and he's not actually endorsing this. But then you look at the comments below. All right, so someone's replied. It says, hypercaloric Mediterranean diet. What's the Mediterranean diet? And 150 minutes of physical exercise should be the first ones. All right, so he's saying first step should be diet and exercise. Okay, well, agreed. He says, true, but, this is Dayspring, true, but this is wishful thinking to think that other than a few, the public would ever do it. And there is no evidence that such a lifestyle would produce the multiple benefits now being seen with the GLP therapeutics in randomized controlled trials. So he's saying, yeah, we probably should look at diet and exercise, but no one's going to do it. And even diet and exercise is not going to produce the amazing results we are seeing with these medications. So his thought pattern is, we have an Ozempic deficiency. So this guy replies with some stats to say, well, I don't think so, Thomas. And then Thomas Dayspring replies with, keep living in your theoretical world and good luck getting all patients doing and sustaining that diet. What kind of person, how bad is it that he's just going, yeah, well, just give him the drugs? And that was Dayspring's last reply. So we can see that the mainstream is just treating this as, look, everyone's useless. No one follows instructions. Obviously, it's not clear enough when we've been saying to them, just eat less and move more. Eat a balanced diet. Obviously, that's not clear enough for them. They must be idiots. Just give them the drugs. To which I say, no. I mean, there are people out there who may require these drugs because of a particular situation in their life. I don't know. But for the vast majority of people, if they stop eating the crap and they start eating whole, one ingredient foods, and they move toward some level of ketogenic diet, get all the horrible carbs out of their diet, at least temporarily, and they will see results. And then when a friend asks them, oh, you've lost a lot of weight, did you take that jab? They can proudly say, no, I didn't. I started eating real healthy food and I'm giving my body the nutrition it needs so that it responds accordingly. And if you want to discover how we got here, watch this video next.